to try and move some of our products and send some more money overseas back to our artists and get things moving again. We really like to support the independent artists, usually practicing some form of cultural expression. Like I said, we specialize in indigenous and ethnic textiles. Unfortunately, a lot of times, in order to bring an ethical product to market and recoup that cost, it has to be a product designed for a Western market. So we try to support artists practicing their traditional craft versus, making something for a Western or European market. A lot of these involve upcycled accessories using traditional garments or costumes. Of course, we try and support the makers of the original costume because without the original garment, there is no secondary market for making other crafts. So if you are a collector or a museum, reach out to us. We can get you traditional costumes for display. We try to send about a third of our sale price back to our artists, so that's part of the reason we haven't really pivoted toward a shipping and online type of market. If I sell you a $20 bag and it costs me $12 to ship it to you, the shipping company is making more money than the artist or myself. So we really rely on the market kind of environment, and we also try and share that environment with people. We're trying to recapture the Asian night market feeling. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. If you've ever been to a market not knowing you're looking for something and then finding something that's very special and means a lot to you that you didn't know you needed until you actually laid eyes on it. And that's what we're trying to do. Everything we sell is personally selected. Growing up in San Antonio, I was always enjoyed the vibrant colors and the folk art around San Antonio. So when I first traveled to Asia, the vibrant colors and the patterns really spoke to me, and it gave me a commonality between the culture that I grew up in and culture from thousands of miles away. So really in traveling, trying to focus on those similarities versus the differences in language or culture or what that might be. And if you can find that commonality and appreciation of a meal or an adornment, you can really find a sense of community across the world, wherever you're at. So in this time of need, it's really everybody's responsibility to come together and do your part, because the whole world is really counting on us to lead the way. So without further ado, let me get started on some of our products. I'll pivot here for just a second. So guys, one of the first countries we went to was Thailand. And in Thailand, we started looking into the various hill tribes. This is made by the Karen tribe. This is a top, a shirt. You can see this is embroidered, all handmade. It's a traditional garment worn by the Karen. The other tribe we initially started working with was the Hmong. And this is a traditional Hmong dress. You can see the embroidery work on that. And what they're doing these days is taking scraps from these existing garments and making small little bags and things out of it. This is out of a piece that would have gone in the front. And they'll utilize usually pieces of coconut shell or hand-carved wood to make the fasteners on that. One of the first products we started bringing in were these totes. We're getting these out of Thailand. Now this is a machine-made embroidery, but it is embroidered. A lot of the products these days are going to a print versus an embroidery. Our bags have a sturdy strap. A lot of these have a kind of a loose strap on them. And it does have a zipper in it, so you can close it up. Now this isn't really what we would consider 100% fair trade because it does use component systems like the zipper and the machine-made embroidery. But we work with families that are building these and selling these, so we think that the benefit of selling these outweighs any harm. The other product we started bringing in early back in 2014 were the leather bags, and our artist out of Thailand uses repurposed vintage textiles and repurposed leather jackets. So all the bags are made out of repurposed leather jackets that are recycled utilizing the vintage textiles. And these are also available in a backpack design, in case you're looking for something you don't have to carry around. The next country we went to is Vietnam, and different groups we work out in Vietnam are the flower Hmong, which is this, they take kind of a yarn and stitch it together to make the fabric. The red dowel, and this bag is used, this is a piece of pant leg, so they'll take the pant leg and make these little square kind of bags out of these. And the black Hmong, this is a piece of collar that they then make into like a little clutch here. And like I said, oftentimes they use the garments. This is the collar that would be used in a traditional shirt. And then we'll take that collar and make that into a bag. So this is the bag that is made out of the traditional collar. This is the flower mong out of northern Vietnam. And the other country that we go to in Indochina is Laos. And one of the products we sell out of Laos are these saw paper lamps. Open. Let me grab this one over here. This is a saw paper lamp, and what these are made out of is mulberry bark. So in Laos, Laos is known for their silk work. So silk, of course, is made from silkworms out of the cocoon. Silkworms eat mulberry leaves. So after the silkworm eats the mulberry leaf, the bark and the twigs are left over. They'll use those materials to make the paper. So that paper is made from the leftover food from the silkworms. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship of raising the trees to feed the worms and using the leftover material to make the paper. So they're really making two different products out of the mulberry tree. And this is an example of a traditional Laotian weave. And this is actually cotton, but it does have a little bit of silk in there. That gives you an example of the type of products that they're making there. And of course, they'll use those textiles to make some of these smaller bags and some clutches as well. We also work with a teacher out of Laos who makes these bags. These are actually modeled after the bags that the Buddhist monks wear. And they'll wear it kind of as a crossbody with books or prayer material in there. And she makes these with traditional designs. So, one with elephant on it. And also with the traditional story cloth, which is also embroidered. And we'll do some little clutches as well with traditional designs. So moving on. The next country we visited was Indonesia. In Indonesia, we deal with the Sasak tribes out of Lombok and Bali. These are some of their weavings. This can be used as a scarf or a belt, also a head wrap, whatever you like. In Indonesia, they're also known for two different types of fabrics, one being the ikat. And this is an ikat that would be used as a sarong. Sarongs are worn by men and women. This is about a 2-meter piece of fabric. This is a handmade ikat. And if you can see the pattern on that, you see it's a little bit imperfect, and that's by design. How they do that is they'll use a dyeing process on the yarn before the fabric is woven, rather than dyeing it afterwards. And that's how you get that different pattern variation in ikat material. And so they're using those ikats to make the bags. This is a small clutch out of the ikat material with a little bit of ribbon on the top. And this is another traditional piece, the rang-rang. And this can be worn as a sash, or again as some type of a around the waist. Moving on from Indonesia, the next country we visited was Nepal. And in Nepal, we deal with a certified fair trade organization called the Women's Skills Development Organization out of Pokhara. And unlike some of our other products, this is 100% fair trade. And how they do this is a cotton bag. All of the cotton is dyed in facility, woven. The bag is then manufactured and packaged all at the same facility. So everything from the dyeing of the cotton to the manufacture of the button is all done in-house by the same people. So this is a messenger bag by the Pokhara Women's Skills Development Organization out of Nepal. Other item we carry out in Nepal are small bags that are made out of repurposed silk. So what they're doing on these are taking apart the silk garments and dresses and ripping that into yarn and then reweaving them into a smaller bag. So this is, again, utilizing the repurposed materials in the silk. Also, with a little bit of the silk, we have our backpacks out of Nepal. This is a hemp backpack. And it also utilizes different scrap materials in jute and cotton and silk to manufacture this backpack. We've got a few of these in stock. Also in our backpacks, we have a couple different designs. And these are utilizing repurposed rice bags. So you can see the design from the rice bag is then kind of tie-dyed and then made into the backpack. So both of these are going to be utilizing the repurposed materials as well, the rice bags. Have that one in the jute, and then also in the cut. Moving on from Nepal, we deal with a family in Rajasthan, India. I guess that these are some of the traditional garments that we carry. We're utilizing these garments to make small bags like this clutch. It has the embroidered material as well as some coins they've attached on there. And these will have a strap tucked in as well. One of our more popular items out of India is our kantha blankets. These are also made out of repurposed materials. These are using saris, so the old the dresses that are worn in India. Once the dresses are no longer worn, they'll take several layers of them and stitch them together. So this is called a running stitch. They'll run through 2 or 3 layers of material to make a blanket. These are probably more like a twin size, maybe a 4x6 or something like that. Definitely big enough for a throw to put on a sofa or something like that, but maybe a little bit small for a full size or a queen bed. If you're looking for something like that, we do have some new material in the larger sizes, but in the vintage, they're going to be this kind of smaller size. Also utilizing the vintage materials, we have some wall hangings, and what they do on these, they will take the pieces of embroidery from the garments and then quilt them together to make a larger piece for a wall hanging or a tablecloth or something of that nature. So these are going to be about 40 by 60. Like I said, you can do that as a wall hanging or a tablecloth. Or if you're a garment maker or make pillows or something, these can be used to do some kind of material like that. Like I said, I work with a family out of Rajasthan. If you're not familiar, Rajasthan is all the way along the border with Pakistan. And this is a part of the world that's kind of important to me because much like the region here in Texas, India was partitioned in 1947 when the UK turned it over. So the area of Rajasthan was divided into what is now Pakistan and India. So whereas you had Jains and Muslims and Hindus that coexisted for thousands of years, you had a colonial power that kind of drew this line in between that separated families on either side of the border. So it's important to me to work with those people out of there because you have this conflict that has been created by the power, and we're trying to support the different ethnic groups that kind of coexist there in that region of Rajasthan. So let me see, I'm not sure how much time we have. Let me see if I can add somebody here. Hi!
Hi!
How's everything going there?
Great. Ed, I loved learning everything about your artisans. Oh my gosh, what beautiful styles you guys have.
Great, great. Well, good to have you. I just wanted to remind everybody, if you haven't already, to follow us at freeblue.com and bookmark us. Hopefully we'll be back at